Chapter 206. Becoming the Leader. The sun hung brightly in the blue skies and white clouds. Sunlight shone on the land as Yellow Dragon River flowed, with a dense forest beside the river, forming an ocean of greenery on the beast trap tree's crown. Vines hung as 8 or 9 leaves formed a cage, like a gathering of seashells standing tall. Suddenly among one of the cages, there was intense shaking. A bright red moon blade shot out from there, tearing the leaves apart. A young girl in light-colored clothing, shrouded in a white-colored armor on her body, emerged from the leaf cage. She was agile, her feet landing on some branches on the trees, moving quickly as she jumped down, eventually landing safely on the ground. It was by Ning Bing. Throughout the process, the beast trap tree did not move, as if it was dead. Bai Ning Bing looked at this beast trap tree, thinking of what Fang Yuan had said to her the previous night. Towards any prey that escaped, the beast trap tree will not attack further. Because any prey that can escape is not something the tree can deal with. Even without intelligence, the instinct of the beast trap tree can allow it to adapt and survive better in the wild. Achoo! Bai Ning Bing could not help but sneeze as she rubbed her nose. She observed the surrounding and checked out her location. In this beast trap forest, most leaf cages were hanging high up in the tree crown like shiny green seashells. It seems that the blood smell on the beach has attracted many wild beasts. The beast trap tree had a great harvest last night. Bai Ning Bing thought in her heart as she stretched her limbs, cracking her neck. She had an uncomfortable sleep last night. The crocodile's corpse was hard and tough. Coupled with the cold night, although she was extremely tired, she was woken up by the cold several times. Thus, with huge eye bags, she was in a bad condition mentally. But after cultivating for a while, her stamina had recovered by more than half. At this moment, she was standing in an area with sunlight, using the sunlight to dispel the coldness in her body. Bai Ning Bing, let me out. A voice was heard, none other than Fang Yuan. He did not need to use the earth-hearing communication grass to notice the commotion. Bai Ning Bing glanced at another beast trap tree. On this tree crown, the leaf cage that had captured Fang Yuan was still at the same spot. She laughed inwardly, not replying, instead closing her eyes and resting while bathing in the sunlight, delaying on purpose. 15 minutes later, she shot out a blood-colored moon blade, cutting the vines apart. The seashell-like leaves scattered on the ground as they tore and dispersed. Bai Ning Bing slowly walked over, using another blood moon blade, cutting the leaves as Fang Yuan moved his way out of the cage. What's with the delay? I woke up ages ago, and even managed to cultivate for a while. Fang Yuan's face was gleaming, looking extremely refreshed. The clothes and cloak that he took out last night had already been kept. Bai Ning Bing snorted. Fang Yuan's current situation was beyond her expectations. She had thought that Fang Yuan would be like her, not being able to sleep while feeling hungry and cold. Thus she delayed his release, trying to torture him. But to think that his condition was at its peak. It's getting late. We have to start moving. Let's eat first. Fang Yuan shot out the tusita flower, taking out the coal stone, iron rack, iron pot, water bottle, and dried biscuits, etc. He moved quickly, cooking a pot of meat stew in a short while. Next he searched around, finding a large number of mushrooms under the cover of the beast trap tree. These tree shrooms were long, dry and thin, looking dark purple or black. Bai Ning Bing looked at Fang Yuan as he put these into the pan, questioning. Wild vegetation cannot be eaten without caution. They might be poisonous. Yup, you're right. Fang Yuan nodded. Then don't eat. Bai Ning Bing laughed coldly. If you get poisoned, I do not have a healing goo worm. Fang Yuan indifferently took out a ladle, drinking a huge mouthful of meat soup under Bai Ning Bing's close watch. Bai Ning Bing snorted. Only until Fang Yuan drank 5 to 6 mouthfuls of soup did she assure herself that there was no danger in the soup. After drinking from the ladle, her eyes shone. Compared to yesterday, this stew had a much fresher and sweeter flavor. She directed her gaze towards the tree shrooms in the soup. Evidently, the difference was due to these mushrooms. She could not help but look at Fang Yuan as he sat on a rock, drinking soup with his head lowered as he ate the dry biscuits, full of vigor, although their sleeping condition was the same. Bai Ning Bing compared it to her own pathetic state and felt a trace of admiration towards Fang Yuan in her heart, no matter how much she denied it. Of course, if she knew that Fang Yuan had secretly taken out his cloak and clothes to keep warm, then she would have had a different feeling altogether. Fang Yuan felt her gaze landing on him, but he did not raise his head, only smiling lightly, pretending he did not notice it, and continued eating. Ever since Qingmao Mountain, where Bai Ning Bing resolutely saved him, Fang Yuan felt that pure demonic nature in her. Demons are crazy, impervious to reason, adamantly walking on their own path. Bai Ningbing's demonic nature gave Fang Yuan some ideas on how to make use of her. But this person, Bai Ningbing, was also complex. On one hand, she was too tender. After getting new life and solving the problem of the northern dark eye soul physique, she did not want to give up anymore, enjoying life and not resolving to die. But on the other hand, her demonic nature made her pursue excitement, thus having a completely unrestrained personality. She did not fear death, and if death was exciting enough, she would chase after it. Such a person is like a young dragon, full of curiosity towards the world, carrying an unrestrained nature, and whose wildness was untamable. She had her own path, her own ambitions and aspirations. Bai Ningbing had not fully grown into a demon lord. She was merely a demon child now. But this true demon will never change her path, and her direction cannot be altered, and she definitely will not submit to anyone. True demons are only loyal to themselves, moving in the darkness alone, walking their own paths. True demons will admire other people, but they will never submit. A true demon is the lord of their own, the supreme existence. Fang Yuan understood Bai Ningbing because Fang Yuan understood himself. He knew that Bai Ningbing would never submit to him, but not submitting does not mean she couldn't be subdued. While not able to change her path, it does not mean she cannot be used. If Fang Yuan had rank 3 cultivation, he would not need her. But with only rank 1 initial stage now, Bai Ningbing's value is great. Of course, wanting to subdue her and make use of her, some efforts needed to be put in. Bai Ningbing was smart and arrogant, and could not be forced. Only through some small matters, or external influence to exert pressure on her, can she slowly be tamed. Secretly taking out clothes to keep warm was not because Fang Yuan is petty. Earlier, Bai Ningbing purposely delayed the time, and Fang Yuan did not pursue it. It is not because he is magnanimous. To subdue Bai Ningbing, I need to spend a lot of time. But I'm in no rush. Let's take it slow. I need time to recover my cultivation. After the 2-8, it was near noon already. On the ground, there were footprints of wild beasts all over. The two continued moving, as Bai Ningbing paved the way towards the southeast direction. The deeper they went, the taller the trees in the forest. Earlier there were only beast trap trees around 3 to 4 meters tall, but gradually they became 5 to 6 meters tall, and at times there were 7 to 8 meter tall king trees. Like a crane among a flock of chicken. Of course, there were also dying tree branches that had fallen onto the ground, filled with green moss. Or at some areas, there were budding leaves, or broken wood, split apart by lightning, showing the fury of the heavens. These great beings grew in close proximity in this area, shrouding the heavens. The deeper one went, the colder it got. The strong sunlight was blocked by the lustrous tree leaves, and only a tiny ray could penetrate, creating large shadows in the forest. The wind blew, and the tree leaves made a swish sound, as shadows moved like shattered gold. In the forest, not all was peaceful. At times, there would be deer, foxes, rabbits, and other animals moving around. Most were birds, all sorts of birds, either in groups of 3s or 5s, or a large flock flying in the sky. Others stood on tree branches as they sang out in harmony. Sometimes, there would be the roaring of tigers from far away. The two moved and stopped, relying on the earth-hearing communication grass to avoid many dangers. But some areas could not be avoided, thus Bai Ningbing's battle strength was needed to force their way through. Rank 3 cultivation is already sufficient to deal with problems in the wild. Night descended again, and Fang Yuan found a safe camping spot. It was a stone hill. Bai Ningbing was extremely tired, falling asleep immediately even on the rough sharp rocks. On the second day when she woke up, her body ached all over and even her head could not rotate properly, having gotten a stiff neck. Her sneezing also became more frequent. It was obvious she caught a cold. Fang Yuan took all these into consideration as they continued on their journey. They moved extremely slowly, because there was no movement type goo to travel. Previously, Fang Yuan used the thousandly earthwolf spider, and Bai Ningbing used the white form immortal snake goo. Both were mobile goo that were rank 5. Unfortunately, one died and the other escaped, but Fang Yuan was not in a hurry. His cultivation was weak and he needed time to cultivate. Every time there was a break when they traveled in the day. Even during rest, he would grab every second to cultivate. At night, he would cultivate into late night. A few days later, Bai Ningbing got sick, catching a cold. Her head hurt and her battle strength fell rapidly, also getting a fever. Fang Yuan had to stop and use the medicine in the Tusita flower on her. as well as some medical paste to apply on her body. Although they were burning on the skin, they helped to remove the chill in her body. Only after resting for 6 days did Bai Ningbing recover. This illness was a huge lesson to her. During the period, she was drowsy and barely had any strength in her body, not even able to apply the paste herself. It was Fang Yuan who helped her. If not for Fang Yuan, I'd be in a critical position this time. After Bai Ningbing recovered, she sighed inwardly. Not matter how much she did not want to agree with it, it was the truth. In the past, her tone was tough and was very aggressive. But after this matter, she became much quieter, often keeping silent. At times, she could go for half a day without speaking. The less she spoke, the more Fang Yuan led and his authority rose. This way, he slowly became the leader among the two. Chapter 207, Xin Yuan Divine Pheasant. Time passed quickly. Half a month later, Bai Ningbing grew thinner, but her body radiated a strong elite aura. Her concentration was better, and her blue eyes shone with brilliance as she observed around. Undeniably, she had adjusted to this primal life and learnt much from this experience. Fang Yuan knew. Although Bai Ningbing was solemn, it does not mean she admitted defeat. Her heart was motivated to learn seriously and try hard to adapt. At times, she would refute some of Fang Yuan's ideas, and although they were still rather shallow, she had gone past her initial naivety. Fang Yuan could feel Bai Ningbing improving by the day, but this situation was not unexpected. To subdue Bai Ningbing, it was not easy. Any true demon would have the spirits to resist greatly. Under the blazing sun, the two hid in the shaded forest as they carefully observed the mountain valley. In the valley, there was a huge crocodile, sleeping peacefully. A lava crocodile, the size of 3 elephants placed together. Its body was covered in dark red scales, and its 4 thick, strong legs support its humongous body. A crocodile tail glowed in a metallic luster as it reached almost 10 meters tall. Most importantly, on its back there are 2 lumps, like 2 mini volcanoes. As it breathed, 2 columns of black smoke rose from the lumps, varying in intensity. This lava crocodile is a 1,000-beast king. To eliminate it, the risk is too great. Bai Ningbing stared with wariness. On a 1,000-beast king, there are rank 3 wild goo worms. Together with the beast king's strong body physique, even rank 3 peak stage goo masters would have difficulty finding victory in a 1v1. Great risks, greater rewards. It is not easy to find a crocodile in the forest. Crocodile strength goo needs crocodile meat to feed on. We have less than half left now. Let's test out this crocodile's strength first. Fang Yuan said. Lava crocodile lived underground in groups. Only the beast king have the strength to get to the surface and breathe in fresh air, enjoying the sun. Bai Ningbing gritted her teeth, standing up. After getting the crocodile strength goo, she had been using it. Now her strength was greatly increased, but there was still a distance from the strength of one crocodile. The increment was not completely done yet. The lava crocodile was asleep, but when Bai Ningbing got around 50 steps away from it, it opened its red golden eyes. Plop. It supported its body as it turned its head, 2 gushes of hot air coming out from its nose. Bai Ningbing's expression was solemn, activating the canopy goo, but still feeling a strong feeling of heated air gushing at her face. She did not take out the chainsaw golden centipede, but shot out the blood moon blade. The rank 3 moon blade hit the back of the lava crocodile, shaving off some scales, and succeeded in angering the lava crocodile king. It aimed accurately at Bai Ningbing, opening its huge mouth and shooting out a dark red lava fireball. The lava fireball was the size of a stone mill. Bai Ningbing did not dare to take it head-on and dodged. Bam! Lava fireball drew an arc in the sky, landing on the mountain rocks. In an explosion, shards of mountain rocks flew apart as the flames burnt. A small-sized mushroom cloud floated into the sky before dissipating. At the explosion area, a huge crater was created, and inside fresh lava was still flowing as they slowly cooled down. Rank 3 lava explosion goo. Fang Yuan, seeing this, concluded in his heart. Few minutes later, Fang Yuan threw down a rope from above the cliff and pulled Bai Ningbing up. Lava Crocodile King growled several times, but did not give chase. Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing's figure vanished as it continued to lay on the ground, enjoying its sunbath once again. This is because Bai Ningbing's attacks were merely probing. The Lava Crocodile King did not find her a threat, only thinking that she was an intruding wild beast, thus chasing her away. This is a Lava Crocodile King, with 3 goo worms inside it. 1 lava explosion goo, 1 flame stomach goo, and 1 accumulating ash goo. All 3 are rank 3 goo worms. Covering attack, defense, and healing, all 3 basic aspects are assured. Leaving the valley, Fang Yuan concluded what he observed. Bai Ningbing frowned deeply. She herself had probed earlier, and knew that to kill this crocodile king, it was extremely difficult and was near impossible. Never mind that lava explosion goo. Even the flame stomach goo's defense cannot be broken by blood moon goo. Only the chainsaw golden centipede can do it when it gets close. But if we really did that to destroy the flame stomach, the centipede would be crippled as well. These days, after using it to kill enemies, the razors were already in bad shape. Plus, even if we break the defenses, there is still the accumulating ash goo that can heal the crocodile king. Its stamina is definitely greater than both of us combined. In a battle of attrition, we would definitely lose. Most importantly, it can burrow underground and go back to its nest. We cannot stop it from leaving. Bai Ningbing said. Fang Yuan nodded. Your analysis is right, but I want to kill it even more now. Since ash goo that eats ashes is food, it is easy to feed. It is also very suitable as our healing goo worm. Although the goo worm is good, we need to live to enjoy it. Although you have the yang goo, don't think of manipulating me, ordering me to risk my life in such a combat. Bai Ningbing snorted. We cannot fight it head-on, but we can use intelligence. Never mind about other wild beasts, but this lava crocodile king, we can use it to attract other beast kings and cause them to fight among themselves, and then reap the rewards from it, Fang Yuan said as he did not wish to give up due to difficulty. Creating a miracle out of the impossible, it was his favorite thing to do. If it was any other wild beast, unless they just migrated and arrived, they would have their respective territories. Among themselves, they would know each other's existence and would not cause any infighting. But the lava crocodile king was different. It normally lived underground, and sometimes came to the surface to breathe fresh air. Like the fish deep in the sea, jumping out of the surface of the water, their existence was not known by other beast kings. They are like illegal immigrants. Unless it was a beast king like the lightning leakin, most did not have high intelligence. Once a beast king is lured over, they would feel threatened by one another and begin an intense battle. Once they both got injured, Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing would be able to rob the owner when his house is on fire. Fang Yuan's words caused Bai Ningbing's eyes to shine. She nodded. We do not have a movement type goo, thus this plan is risky. But compared to fighting the lava crocodile king head-on, we have greater hopes of success. We can give this a try. Like human society, among wild beasts, they each have their own territories. Stronger beast kings led beast groups and occupied areas with abundant resources. Just like how a human clan would occupy a spirit spring. Among forces, they would have interactions, and as long as they ventured into other areas, they would have some findings. The next 5 days, Bai and Feng used the lava crocodile as the focal point as they searched around. The northwest direction which they came from did not need more scouting. Looping around the valley, towards the southeast direction, they found a white ape gang. The leader was an old white ape, a 1000-beast king. A white ape's speed was fast, and if it was lured, the two would definitely get caught up and be surrounded. Thus, they had to give up their plans here. At the southwest direction, it was a rotting swamp. The smell was overbearing. This is the world of the poison. The poisonous snake lay below the roots of the tree, as fist-sized poisonous bees flew around in groups, and large spiders' webs had black spiders around the size of a face, from the center of the swamp. There was frog screeching. Fang Yuan deduced that it was a healing goo that was the lord of this swamp, poison-swallowing toad. It was rank 4, having a small body and fed on poison as food. If a goo master is poisoned, activating it to absorb the poison would result in a healing effect. Its speed was bad, but entering the deep parts of the swamp and luring it out is harder. Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing did not have any healing goo. If they were bitten by a poisonous creature, it would result in much trouble. Furthermore, finding a tiny poison-swallowing frog in a large swamp was extremely difficult. The two finally moved towards the northeast direction, finding a beehive as huge as a house. Inside there was a large number of a terrifying insect group, the frenzy needle bee. These bees were even greater trouble. Frenzy needle bee, once becoming a goo, had the ability to penetrate all things. That is to say, even with Bai Ningbing's sky canopy goo protection, it would be pierced by the rank 3 frenzy needles. The winds howled in the night. Winds blew into the mountain caves as the campfire flickered in response. This was a small mound, and a cave was found inside. This cave did not have an optimum location. First, it did not face against the wind. Thus winds blew into the cave and caused it to be very moist. Next, the top was not covered, like a well, as the stars in the skies could be seen. Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing were solemn, sitting around the fire. Fang Yuan was expressionless while Bai Ningbing sighed in disappointment. These few days we explored the surroundings completely. Although your idea is great, we have no suitable targets. It seems we can only give up on the Lava Crocodile King. Plans are made by men, but success is decided by the heavens. We have insufficient strength, thus we can only rely on luck for some things. Never mind, I still wanted to raise the crocodile strength goo, but it seems we cannot kill the Lava Crocodile King. Tomorrow we will set off, and continued towards Baigu Mountain. Fang Yuan nodded helplessly, but at this time, suddenly from the outside, the Lava Crocodile King's furious growls could be heard. What happened? It is that Lava Crocodile King. The two made eye contact as they left the cave, looking towards a faraway place, only to see that in the valley, rainbow colors were shining as the flames burnt brightly, giving off an imposing aura. In the brilliant rainbow light, a pheasant as large as a mountain showed its body. Its crown shone like gold, erecting highly. The feathers on its body shone in all colors, changing all the time and giving an out-of-this-world brilliance. Oh no, it is the Xian Yuan divine pheasant, a myriad beast king level bird. The Lava Crocodile King is done for, Fang Yuan said immediately. Xian Yuan divine pheasant. Bai Ningbing was perturbed. This is a lone traveling myriad beast king, able to fly in the skies, only landing to find food. Divine pheasant is low in numbers, they have all sorts of rainbow goo in their bodies. Once they battle, the skies would be filled with rainbow lights, shining in 5 to 7 different lights. Sigh, we can't get the Lava Crocodile King anymore. Let's hurry in. This divine pheasant is extremely sharp-eyed like an eagle. If it finds us and comes for the killing, we would be in great trouble. Saying so, Fang Yuan retreated into the cave. Bai Ningbing bit her lips as she followed closely behind. Chapter 208. Escape. An hour later, the Lava Crocodile King cried out one last time before it went silent. Soon after, Bai Ningbing and Fang Yuan heard the sound of the Xian Yuan divine pheasant pecking its food. But Xian Yuan divine pheasant's appetite was huge, and one Lava Crocodile King could not satisfy its hunger. This night, Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing did not sleep. After the Lava Crocodile King's cries, they heard the white ape screaming, the poison-swallowing toad screech, and the fluttering of the bee groups. Most importantly, there was the Xian Yuan divine pheasant's loud cry. Only until evening did the Xian Yuan divine pheasant fly into the skies, drawing a rainbow behind its path. Seeing the trail of the rainbow disappearing in the sky, Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing finally dared to walk out of the cave. The two came to the original valley. The valley was completely wrecked, half destroyed. The Lava Crocodile King laid belly side up on the ground, as dead as it could be. Its stomach was pried open by the Xian Yuan divine pheasant, and the flesh and intestines within were all eaten. Only its remaining skeleton held together by the dark red crocodile skin was left. The two searched for a while. They soon found a red glass fragment. This was the remains of the flame stomach goo. Evidently, the Lava Crocodile King activated the flame stomach goo for defense, but it was forcefully defeated by the Xian Yuan divine pheasant, causing the flame stomach goo to be destroyed. As for the other two goo, lava explosion and accumulating ash goo, they were nowhere to be found. This was nothing strange. Once the host dies, the goo worms inhibiting the wild beasts' bodies will leave and roam around like they've lost their homes. Accumulating ash goo was a very ideal healing goo, perfect for Fang Yuan's situation. But things did not go according to one's will most of the time. Not obtaining the accumulating ash goo was within Fang Yuan's expectations. But they did not return empty-handed. There was still some flesh left in the Lava Crocodile King's corpse. The Xian Yuan divine pheasant ate most of the corpse, but left behind some scraps that Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing could take. After working for an afternoon, they finally cut out all the meat and stored it in the tusita flour. These crocodile meat is enough to feed the crocodile strength goo for 3 months. Let's explore other areas. Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing came to the territory of the white apes. The dense forest earlier had white ape groups playing and swinging around. But now everywhere there was broken trees, with white ape limbs in the mix, some old, crippled or young apes defended the corpses of their kin as they cried out loud. The entire forest covered in an atmosphere of sadness and devastation. The Xian Yuan divine pheasant had caused a catastrophe to this 1,000-beast group the night before. Right now only 200 or 300 were left, and the last few hundred beast king white apes were all injured. Bai Ningbing stared with shining eyes. Right now the white ape group is at their weakest. Shall we attack? Fang Yuan stopped her. Not that he pitied these white apes, but knew that in a way, they were even more dangerous now. An army burning with righteous indignation is bound to win. Don't mess with these white apes. Once you do, they'll attack in rage, relentlessly attacking until we're dead. Those few hundred beast kings, although they are injured, it is not something you can deal with alone. Bai Ningbing, hearing so, looked at Fang Yuan before giving up on her plan to attack. The two moved towards the southwest area, towards the rotten swamp. The swamp had turned into a completely different sight, ravaged by the Xian Yuan divine pheasant. Their living environment had been greatly destroyed, and the swamp's major forces were redistributed. Although the Xian Yuan divine pheasant left, the swamp was not in peace. All sorts of poisonous beings were killing each other in chaos. Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing stood at the fringe of the swamp. In only a while, they saw 3 battles occurring. One sight was of 2 brightly colored poisonous snakes battling, until one was swallowed by the other. But not long after, a crab-sized scorpion came and stabbed the poisonous snake to death. The second battle was between a poison powder moth and an eerie blue toad. When battle ensued, the toad stretched its tongue and swallowed the moth. A moment later, the moth died of suffocation in the toad's mouth, but the toad was also poisoned to death by the powder. The third battle was between a face-sized black spider, coming out from the mud. Its body was covered in ants. After a while, the ants won and completely devoured the spider. Seeing such a chaotic scene, Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing left immediately. Finally, they came to the nest of the frenzy needle bee group. The house-like beehive had collapsed completely. The surroundings was quiet. Not a single frenzy needle bee was left. The two got closer. Immediately, the fragrant smell of sesame entered Bai Ningbing's nose as she sniffed. What smell is that? The smell of the beehive. Frenzy needle bee do not create honey, but their hives are a great goo refinement material. At the same time, it is a kind of food that humans can consume directly. Fang Yuan said so, stretching his arm into the beehive. Crack. The beehive fragments were dark yellow color. Under Bai Ningbing's curious gaze, he placed the beehive into his mouth, biting and crushing it in a few bites, swallowing it. The beehive tasted like biscuits on earth, fragrant and crispy. But undeniably, this naturally produced food was much more delicious than biscuits. It carried a light sweetness, not oily at all, but instead having a refreshing flavor. Good taste. Bai Ningbing also took a piece to eat, and after consuming it, she felt her mouth salivating. The sweet flavor caused her frowning eyebrows to ease subconsciously. Our salted meat and dry biscuits are finishing. We should collect some beehives and store it in your tusita flower, Bai Ningbing suggested. Fang Yuan looked at the sky, his expression slightly worried. I have the same thought, but we have to move quickly. You're worried that the blood smell of the lava crocodile king as well as the white ape's corpse will attract new wild beasts? Rest easy, there is no wind today. Wild beasts will not be attracted over, at least not in the meantime. During this period, we can collect to our heart's content. Bai Ningbing laughed. Fang Yuan shook his head, about to speak when suddenly his expression changed. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The sound of bees buzzing and flying entered their ears. Bai Ningbing looked at the sky immediately, only to see a thick cloud formed by numerous frenzy needle bees, attacking towards them. The frenzy needle beehive, although destroyed by Xian Yuan divine pheasant. And the most delicious piece of the beehive at the center was eaten. The frenzy needle bees were not reduced much in numbers. Frenzy needle bees could not cause damage to the Xian Yuan divine pheasant, so after the latter ate enough, it did not waste extra energy in exterminating these insignificant things. Frenzy needle bee group's house was destroyed, and because they had low intelligence, they started attacking the Xian Yuan divine pheasant. But once the Xian Yuan divine pheasant flew high into the sky, they no longer had the strength to pursue them and were unable to continue chasing. Thus they could only return to their hive and reconstruct their houses. Afterwards, they saw 2 youngsters standing in their house eating their hive. Under this situation, what hesitation was there? The fury towards the Xian Yuan divine pheasant earlier was completely transferred to Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing. At once, numerous frenzy needle bees flapped their wings and rained down on the two. Bai Ningbing was stunned. Why are you still not running? Fang Yuan turned around and left, taking huge strides. Being reminded like this, Bai Ningbing immediately turned around and chased after Fang Yuan. The frenzy needle bee group was behind them, relentlessly chasing. Fang Yuan ran in front while Bai Ningbing fell behind. They did not have a movement type goo, thus Bai Ningbing was quickly caught by the bee group. Chink chink chink. Bai Ningbing activated the sky canopy goo, and a white armor appeared but flickered immediately, receiving almost 1,000 attacks in just a moment. Frenzy needle bee's needle were tough as steel, extremely sturdy. Together with their high-speed flying, it was no inferior to a needle rain attack. Large numbers cause a qualitative change. Bai Ningbing's primeval essence continued to reduce. The B group's attacks are not to be underestimated. What was more troubling was that some of the frenzy needle bees had become goo. Rank 3 frenzy needle bee goo had piercing ability, so even the sky canopy goo could not defend against it. Bai Ningbing's back was quickly pierced and she bled, causing her to grunt in pain. While her running speed broke her usual limits due to the stimulation, Bai Ningbing had never thought she could run so quickly on her own. With her speed, it looked like mountain rocks and trees came flying at her, and she had to concentrate with all her mind to dodge them. If she was tripped by anything, the bees would surround her at the first opportunity. Under such an attack, she was dead meat. With Bai Ningbing behind him tanking the pressure, Fang Yuan's situation was much better. He activated his primeval essence, injecting them into his carapace goo at his back. The skin on his back became uneven, slightly bulging and becoming a tough and thick crocodile skin armor. Ordinary frenzy needle bees could not penetrate the crocodile skin armor, and the few bee goo were attracted by Ningbing. After running for another 15 minutes, the bees still chased relentlessly. Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing were panting as their speed started to reduce. There's hope. There's a lake in front. As the situation turned dire, Fang Yuan suddenly shouted. Bai Ningbing was overjoyed. Trees became less densely packed as a blue-white light appeared, expanding within the greenery. The two rushed out of the forest, and a lake was seen. Fang Yuan did not hesitate, and with a plop, he jumped into the lake. Bai Ningbing followed closely behind. Swish, swish, swish. Frenzy needle bees were bent on getting them, diving into the water as well. Bai Ningbing's white armor shook intensely as she received a large number of attacks. As the intense pain hit her, she bit her lips and paddled with her hands, swimming towards the deeper parts of the water. A moment later, Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing emerged from the opposite shore. The smell of the beehive on their bodies had been washed away, and when looking back at their original spot, there were large numbers of frenzy needle bees indignantly flying about, attacking the water out of frustration. Although the frenzy needle bees were small, they were resilient. Even if they fell into the lake, as long as it was not too deep, they would resurface. Damn it. Bai Ningbing cursed, still feeling the lingering fear from earlier. Her expression was ugly. Be it the Xin Yuan divine pheasant, or white ape group, or even the frenzy needle bee group, none of them were those she could deal with. If last night she was found by the Xin Yuan divine pheasant, she would become its meal. Rank 3 cultivation in this cruel world of nature was the bottom of the hierarchy. I've had enough. When will we reach Baigu Mountain? Shush. Be quiet. Fang Yuan's expression was solemn. He half-squatted as his finger touched the remains of a fire that had been put out earlier. Bai Ningbing immediately frowned deeply. Undeniably, these were traces left behind by humans. Chapter 209. Encountering a demonic goo master. The lake water was still, reflecting the clear blue sky and white clouds. Even after losing the frenzy needle bees chase, Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing's mood were solemn, because in front of them, there was traces left behind that signified this area was once used by people to start a fire and cook meat. Earth communication eargrass. Fang Yuan willed and roots grew out of his ear, as they extended into the ground and dug their way in. Fang Yuan's hearing became many times stronger. After listening for a while, his expression loosened up, as there was no one ambushing in the vicinity. Soon after, he went to the remains of the fire and touched the ashes, not letting go of any evidence that he could find. The fire was started half a month ago. The other party is alone and should not be nearby. After a while, Fang Yuan concluded from his findings. Alone? Goo masters from a clan have to travel in fives. It seems this person is a demonic goo master. Bai Ningbing frowned as she sighed. If it was a goo master from a clan, they would be righteous goo masters, and there is hope of interaction. If it was a demonic goo master, once they meet a battle is assured. This situation is not because righteous people are kind, while demonic people are evil, but because when one is alone, they would display their true nature. There are no restraints in the wild. Thus they act without reservation. Righteous goo masters move in groups. When they handle matters, they will think about the opinions of the people with them. Thus they would act more closely to society's norm. Demonic goo masters often moved alone and were very vigilant, having a strong instinct towards danger. Without anyone to rely on, they would always act to determine and ensure their own safety. This was not good news to Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing. When meeting righteous clan-based goo masters, they could avoid battle. But if they met a demonic goo master, they would definitely fight, unless they displayed sufficient strength that would cause the demonic goo master to shrink in fear and suspicion. Unfortunately, goo masters that could roam around these wilderness alone have around rank 4 cultivation and special methods of their own. How many weaklings would there be? For Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing, one was a new rank 3 while the other was rank 1 initial stage. Without sufficient goo worms to cover all grounds, even when they traveled in the woods, it was full of danger and every step was a difficult gamble. If they encountered a demonic goo master, they will most likely be done for. Thankfully, we discovered the traces of this campfire, so from now on we should not blinding rush our journey, but recuperate and at least mend our current wounds back to full health, Fang Yuan said. Bai Ningbing nodded. After being reminded, she also felt her back hurting. Fang Yuan summoned the Tusita flower, taking out bandages and medicine, giving a large portion to Bai Ningbing. Although the carapace goo's defensive area was small, usually being useless, this time it helped Fang Yuan by a lot, and because Bai Ningbing attracted most of the firepower, Fang Yuan barely had any injuries. He quickly handled his wounds and rushed over to help Bai Ningbing. Bai Ningbing took off her upper shirt. Numerous fingertip-sized holes filled her back, causing fear to whoever who saw it. Frenzy Needle B is rank 3, large in numbers, and also having penetrating abilities. It countered the Sky Canopy goo. But Bai Ningbing also used the Ice Muscles goo before, so with 2 layers of defense, her life was saved. TSK. Bai Ningbing gritted her teeth, breathing in deeply as she endured the pain of cleaning the wound. Soon after, the injury was bandaged. Fang Yuan placed the empty medicine cans and the last remaining bandage into the Tusita flower. We have little medication items left, the same with bandages. Even though we have been thrifty and even reused the bandages when we could, it seems we really need to find a healing goo as soon as possible. Fang Yuan stood up with a solemn expression. Medication is an expendable item and was difficult to make and takes time to collect. If they had a healing goo, not only would the effect be better, it also used primeval essence that can be naturally recovered. With this comparison, the superior one stood out easily. But an ideal goo worm is too hard to find. The truth is, within this half a month, they encountered many chances, but they either had insufficient strength, or it was an inappropriate environment, lacking proper preparations to capture the goo. We have to get a healing goo. But before that, I have a problem here, Bai Ningbing suddenly said. What problem? Fang Yuan raised his eyebrows. Bai Ningbing was naked above, and she turned over and pointed to her chest. These 2 lumps of meat. They are in the way. When I run, they will jump all over the place, and even in battle, they are a burden. I want to slice them off, but I'm worried the injury would be too severe. Without a healing goo worm, I might get into even more trouble. She was the Bai clan genius, focused on cultivation. She barely knew anything outside of it, thus having even less concern towards females. Even though Bai Ningbing had turned into a girl, she had lived as a guy for her entire life, thus she didn't care in her mind and did not treat this body as anything sacred. After all, she knew that the Yanggu in Fang Yuan's possession could give her back the body of a male anyway. Thus, Bai Ningbing had never thought of herself as a girl. Fang Yuan stared at her emotionlessly. There will be too many problems with slicing them off. You can wrap them up. Wrap what? Bai Ningbing asked. Use the bandage to wrap around your bosom and treat them like an injury. Then they will be fixed in place, Fang Yuan said. Bai Ningbing's expression was helpless and anguished, sighing. Sigh, that's the best I can do now. The sun gradually sank as the night sky descended. There were streams of wild beasts coming to the lake to drink water, and the 2 did not dare to stay there for long. Fang Yuan found a naturally formed cave at a nearby steep cliff. Although it was slightly cramped, it was safe. After clearing the birds living within it, the place became their temporary residence. Few days later, Bai Ningbing's injuries recovered mostly. The 2 continued on their journey towards Baigu Mountain. But considering that mysterious demonic goo master, on this trip Fang Yuan was extra cautious, constantly stopping and using the earth communication eargrass to check the surroundings. On the 2nd day of their journey, their cautiousness reaped them good rewards. He found burnt wood under a tree, evidently caused by the demonic goo master. On the 3rd day, they examined traces of an intense battle near a stream. The corpse of a large green python lay there, the meat fully eaten by wild beasts, leaving behind only a skeleton. The ground was full of its scales, and the stream even moved in a new path. After many trees were broken and chopped down, Fang Yuan observed for a while, his tone relaxing. that demonic goo master once fought an intense battle here with the green python. This is a 100-beast king green python. To undergo such a fight, it seems that this demonic goo master also has rank 3 cultivation. But even so, Fang Yuan did not want to meet with this demonic goo master. He would rather deal with unintelligent wild beasts or goo masters. Gu masters have intelligence and would use every bit of strength wisely. A rank 3 demonic goo master has much greater threat to Fang Yuan and Bai Ning Bing compared to the frenzy needle bee. But things do not go according to wishes, and on the afternoon of that day, the two found traces of the demonic goo master once again. This demonic goo master is injured. There is some flesh that was cut away on the ground here, so it seems the goo master got poisoned. Fang Yuan said. On Earth, there are no poisonous pythons. But in here, they were extremely common. Upon hearing so, Bai Ning Bing's eyes shone brightly. Undeniably, this was good news. The weaker the demonic goo master, the more advantageous it is for them. For the next few days, the trace left behind by the demonic goo master increased, with his 500 years of experience. Fang Yuan deduced that they were getting closer towards the injured demonic goo master. Be extra careful. I can deduce that this goo master's injury is getting more severe, and the green python's poison has severely infected her body. But because of this, a demonic goo master's attitude would easily become more extreme. Fang Yuan reminded Bai Ning Bing. Battle would definitely be handled by Bai Ning Bing. Fang Yuan's rank 1 initial stage cultivation is useless. The greatest advantage now was that the enemy was out in the open, while Fang Yuan and Bai Ning Bing were hidden. The two moved with even more vigilance than before. They moved even more slowly, and moved with less distance than before. Eventually, on one afternoon, Fang Yuan opened his eyes, keeping the roots coming out of his ears. I found that demonic goo master. That person is in that cave, at their last breath. Just earlier, he heard the sound of human breathing in that cave. Strike while the enemy is weak. Bai Ning Bing aspired to battle, revealing ruthlessness in her eyes, but she was stopped by Fang Yuan. Be patient. We do not need to strike. With this situation, in just a few days she will die of poison. I see. Bai Ning Bing's killing intent reduced, but at this time, the two outside, why bother hiding? I've already found you. A weak voice came from the cave. Hearing this, it was clear that the demonic goo master was female. Fang Yuan's expression changed, immediately retreating. Don't you want my primeval stones, my goo worms? The voice came from the cave again. Fang Yuan and Bai Ning Bing moved even more quickly. Although the other party was weak, her tone was firm. There was definitely some traps put in place that allowed her to be fearless. Moreover, no one is foolish enough to risk it out with a dying person. Leaving after coming here? Hee. There's no such easy way out. You shall all stay. Suddenly, a body came out of the cave. All up to you. Fang Yuan's body flickered, hiding his presence. Bai Ning Bing clicked her tongue, activating the sky canopy goo and summoning the chainsaw golden centipede, engaging the enemy. The two fought for 3 rounds, and the demonic goo master was suppressed. She was a middle-aged woman without shoes, having large feet and thick black fur growing on her soles. Her face and limbs had a peculiar green color. It was caused by the green python's poison. After a moment, the demonic female goo master gradually could not contest. Suddenly, she stepped the ground firmly and jumped back into the cave. Bai Ning Bing chased after relentlessly. Don't chase her. Fang Yuan suddenly reminded, but did not make it in time. Bam! A loud explosion occurred right under Bai Ning Bing's feet as her entire body was blown away. Chapter 210. Plotting. Rocks and fragments flew, as smoke rose into the air. Bai Ning Bing was sent flying to the ground, but with a jump, she stood up again. She had the protection of the sky canopy goo and was uninjured, but the sky canopy goo in her aperture took the impact, her white armor fading by at least 30%. What the fuck? Bai Ning Bing cursed, concentrating and looking over. The explosion site had turned into a 2 to 3 meter crater. Inside the cave, the demonic female goo master laughed smugly. Good. Even if I didn't kill you this time, come at me again if you have the guts, little woman. Humph, Bai Ning Bing snorted. Although she was furious, she was not an impulsive person. During the earlier explosion, although the sky canopy goo protected her, if she took a few more hits, the sky canopy goo would have been destroyed. What was that earlier? An explosion suddenly burst from the ground. So if I left the ground, would I be able to avoid such an attack? Bai Ning Bing thought in her heart. She was not stupid, although naive and pure in some areas. and her battle instincts and wits were still at genius level. I do not have a flying goo, and if I leap I am bound to touch the ground. No, I do not have to attack. This person's words earlier was trying to incite me to attack, he. Thinking so, Bai Ning Bing laughed darkly. Do you think you are safe if you hide in the cave? I just have to camp here. You will come out eventually. Ha ha, then wait all you want. I have prepared a large amount of food, and you are vulnerable to the weather outside. So let's see who will outlast the other. The demonic female Gu Master retorted. Bai Ning Bing laughed coldly, for the longer they dragged, the more beneficial it was for her. Because this demonic female Gu Master was poisoned by the green python, she would get weaker as time passed. But at this time, Fang Yuan cupped his fist at the demonic female Gu Master. We met by coincidence in the wild. We are purely passing by. Sigh, making things difficult for you is the same as making life hard for ourselves. I hope we do not meet again. Farewell. Saying so, he turned around and left. Go where? She is only a rank 3 Gu Master. As long as we grasp that explosion method, we are assured to win. Bai Ning Bing frowned. Fang Yuan snorted. You are also rank 3, but I am rank 1. Let's hurry on the journey. Stop creating so much troubles. Better safe than sorry. Bai Ning Bing was stunned, but quickly understood Fang Yuan was acting. Although she did not know what he was planning, with her understanding of him, she decided to cooperate with him, pretending to be angry. You are always so cowardly. Sigh. Never mind. I'll spare your life. She looked at the demonic female Gu Master deeply, not hiding her killing intent. Soon after, she followed Fang Yuan into the woods, out of the demonic female Gu Master's field of vision. After they got enough distance, Bai Ning Bing broke the silence. That explosion technique of hers is not a problem. When she fought me earlier, she did not use it. Only when she stepped into the cave and I got into range did the explosion occur. I'm guessing she buried the goo ahead of time and cannot move it. We can lure a group of wild beasts and use them to test out her traps. These words fully displayed Bai Ning Bing's talent for battle, but Fang Yuan laughed, asking instead, then what comes next? Bai Ning Bing was stunned. Fang Yuan squinted his eyes shining brightly. According to what you said, luring a group of wild beasts to test her traps. So what? Forcing her into a dead end. Once she knows she has no chance to survive, she will risk her life to battle, at least bringing one of us with her. Even if we survive, we will suffer losses. Plus, even if we defeat her, she will carry the thought of not leaving anything valuable to us and destroy all her goo worms. For a goo master to destroy his own goo worms, it only takes a thought. We have no method to prevent it, so after we kill her, we won't get any goo worms. What benefit is there to us? Bai Ning Bing frowned. Earlier, they had guarded against this demonic goo master, afraid of getting ambushed by her. It was to protect themselves. But once they found out that she was not too strong, their intentions changed completely. It was to kill this weakened demonic goo master and take her goo worms, strengthening themselves. Wild goo worms were of all types, but those with suitable ranks and were easy to feed were few. A goo master's goo worms were all carefully selected, considering all aspects. If they can be obtained, it would be much better than capturing wild goo worms. But very few people can obtain goo worms after killing their enemies. Other than dying in battle, goo masters just need one thought to order the goo worm to destroy itself. Many of those defeated have enough time to react, and would not leave their goo worms to the mortal enemies that kill them. It would not be hard to kill this demonic goo master, but to take all her goo worms, it would be difficult. Don't you have a plunder goo? Bai Ning Bing asked. One plunder goo can have little effect. Dealing with wild beasts is still fine, but against goo masters, to succeed we need to fulfill harsh conditions. Fang Yuan shook his head. Bai Ning Bing suddenly thought of something, worried. If we leave like this and end up allowing her to escape easily, what would we do then? Fang Yuan laughed heartily, saying confidently, in the short period, she will not escape. Righteous goo masters, either clan or sect-based, would receive a degree of nurturing and had higher quality. Conversely, demonic goo masters were often uneven in quality. Some were traitors of the righteous path. Thus these people have been trained and have goo master foundations. However, some were farmers or hunters that obtained a chance to awaken their aperture, obtaining some inheritance, and were considered half-baked. This demonic female Gu master has a rough accent and poor fighting tactics. She does not have enough survival experience either. Everywhere she goes, she leaves behind traces, and even after getting injured, she does not conceal the blood traces. I see that her body is tough and healthy, having large hands and feet. She is most likely a farmer, only lucky to have gotten an inheritance. Fang Yuan continued analyzing. That explosion earlier should be a rank 2 grass goo that she buried in advance, called the charred thunder potato. No matter who steps on it, an explosion will occur. A farmer peasant, how much knowledge can she have? Getting python poison and being unable to cure it. With her worsening injuries, she feels frightened and unsafe. Thus, she subconsciously planted many charred thunder potatoes in front of the cave. If we force her, she might do some extreme things. But if we leave on purpose, she will have a breather and temporarily relax her emotions. She might even suspect whether or not did we truly leave. There are dangers outside, and she might encounter us. Meanwhile, those charred thunder potatoes give her the greatest assurance. Thus, in this short period, she is not going to leave. Bai Ningbing was expressionless, listening quietly as much as she denied it. She had to agree with Fang Yuan's analysis. What he said made sense, almost like he could see the events before him. She could not compare to him. You analyzed well, but she has poison on her. There is no way to drag. She will eventually leave the cave, Bai Ningbing retorted. Fang Yuan nodded, pointing at his right ear. Thus, we have to surveil her. His earth communication ear grass goo, although only rank 2, had much greater range than most rank 3 goo worms. Bai Ningbing shook her head. Your decision has problems too. Activating the earth communication ear grass requires continuous primeval essence expenditure. Even if you have the heavenly essence treasure lotus and can recover primeval essence quickly, one person's effort is ultimately limited. You have to rest and sleep. You can't be checking on her all the time, right? Facing this suspicion, Fang Yuan rolled his eyes. How come you're becoming stupid? There is one of her and 2 of us. Goo worms could be lent, so they could use the earth communication ear grass goo interchangeably, in intervals. Bai Ningbing's expression froze, shame flashing across her eyes. Fuck. Such a simple issue. How could I not think of it? She gritted her teeth, begrudging her own lowly mistake. Fang Yuan laughed secretly. The root of the matter was that Bai Ningbing did not want Fang Yuan to suppress her. Thus, she subconsciously wanted to retort Fang Yuan as much as she could, instead causing her to lose her bearings instead. Fang Yuan was happy to see such retorts, for each time Bai Ningbing failed, it would cause her to be subdued further. This submission is negligible, but it was a subtle influence, and even Bai Ningbing herself could not detect it. One day when she finally realizes it, she would already be under Fang Yuan's rule. Fang Yuan, this demonic female Gu master, was only one target, while Bai Ningbing was the second target. Qin Shui Hua was shell-shocked. She was originally a farmer, and one day, when plowing the fields, she fell into a cave. In the cave, she found a corpse, and became a Gu master after receiving the inheritance out of the blue. Gu master. Qin Shui Hua never thought that one day she would become one of the esteemed Lord Gu masters herself. But after a short happiness, disaster ensued. A mountain leopard as large as a buffalo assaulted her village with green winds surrounding its body. The entire village was wiped out, and she was chased by the mountain leopard, but managed to escape due to her goo worms. After roaming the wilderness for half a year, her goo worms died out one by one, and finally, she encountered a large python. Although she killed it, she was also poisoned as a result, and today, she met 2 Gu masters. This was the 3rd time she met Gu masters. The first 2 taught her a painful lesson, letting her learn how to protect herself. But she was still a half-baked Gu master, severely lacking foundations. Thinking of the earlier battle, she panicked. She was not the girl's match. Luckily, she had buried many charred thunder potatoes earlier. And thankfully, the male was meek and cowardly, choosing to leave. Qin Shui Hua saw their bodies vanish into the forest and breathed a sigh of relief. But she was not certain that they had truly left. Her investigative goo worm could allow her to see everything within 350 steps. The clarity was as if they are right in front of her, but she did not have X-ray vision. I'll wait a few days. I'll go out after 3 days. Qin Shui Hua thought to herself. At this point, she had already learnt to be vigilant and patient.